Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And today we continue with the interview and the podcast with successful entrepreneur. And the secret question, how was the story behind and how they managed to make the first million? Today we have a special guest that is going to introduce himself and is going to share with us the good, the bad, and the funny of his path to success as an entrepreneur. Welcome, Faris. Thank you so much. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you, Harry. It is so good to be with you and your viewers, your listeners today. I am so excited for this interview.
Thank you so much. And then, Faris, tell us a little bit more about yourself. How you decided to become an entrepreneur? I think that some people become an entrepreneur like an accident. Something happened. They have an idea, they have a product, they sold it, and now they're making money and they're in business. Or you really plan this and you say, "I'm gonna go for it." So what's the story?
What's the story? It's a little bit of both, actually. But I never thought I'd be an entrepreneur as a kid. It wasn't something that I thought. And you know what, Harry? My first career was as a high school teacher. So I started teaching high school math and economics around the world. I went and lived and taught in different countries, and I really enjoyed that. That was some great years. But then I realized I wasn't a teacher. I was more someone who loved traveling, who just used teaching as a vehicle. So I then switched to the business world, Harry, and I joined an energy company. I learned all about the energy market, oil and gas, all these things. But really what I discovered is that I love strategy. I ended up in the strategy team. I loved solving complex problems. And so then I was headhunted into strategy consulting, and I spent 12 years solving big problems for big companies around the world. Absolutely loved it, right? And got very successful. I reached the top, in my company. But do you know what I realized, Harry? And this is what made me an entrepreneur, is if you solve a problem for another human being and give them an answer, 9 times out of 10, they don't do anything with it because it's not their answer, Harry. And that's a big problem. Human beings resist ideas. And I realized I was very good at getting people to buy into ideas. And I think a lot of it because I'd been a school teacher, and that's what school teaching is about. And so once I realized this and how important it was to business, that's when I realized there was an opportunity to market my skills exclusively by being an entrepreneur. So 5 years ago, I set up a company to do that, to get teams working better together, to bring more emotional intelligence into decision making. And I started my first company 5 years ago, and we're still going strong, and we're doing great things nowadays. And that's how I've made my initial success, Harry.
Wow. So, and then 5 years ago, can you please share with us what was your biggest fear? Obviously, you have a very comfortable career working for corporates. I think that these companies, the corporate world, it pays us a lot of money to make sure that we are comfortable, that we are safe. So what made you to take that decision to you want to go out of the comfort zone and become an entrepreneur, which is a very big risk, honestly?
Yeah, it's a big risk, and everyone said I was an idiot, Harry, because I was looking at. Everybody
around you will say you crazy.
Especially my mum and dad, and I love it.
Yeah, it happened to my parents as well. Yes,
your parents, all the parents around the world. Yeah, because I was a partner in a consulting firm. Good money, good title. And I said, no, I'm not satisfied. And I realized I was not satisfied because of a really good career coach I was working with, and she helped me identify. And she said to me, look, you're too young. She said, you've still got 25, 30 years of working. Can you imagine doing what you do now for the next 25, 30 years? And I went, oh God, no, right? Life's too short to do something that you don't enjoy or you're dissatisfied in. So although, the money is great, the title is great, that was my biggest fear, is like getting trapped. And so I leapt. And it's scary leaping from something that is comfortable, right? You don't know, you have no idea if it'll be successful. You have no idea if anyone even will care, right? And they don't care, right? And of course, I did not know, if you do the maths, 5 years ago, I set up the business 6 months before COVID. So obviously, my first year was terrible, Harry. We had no clients because of COVID. I had no money coming in. And I was like, why, many times when it was very dark and depressing, I was like, why did I do that? Why did I give up a really good job for nothing? And
you start to question yourself. Then the people around you don't understand what you did. Having my own experience, the same thing. My parents, both of them are teachers, so imagine, right? So I've been all my life. This is what I received. Like, okay, go to school, go to university, get highest mark, and you're gonna be fine, right? And taking the decision to become an entrepreneur and to start your own journey, I think that it's a very lonely position. I think that I remember when I became an entrepreneur, I didn't have any friends, because the friends that I already had before, every time that I go and talk to them, they were talking about different things, and I go there and talk about business. All of a sudden, my topic was boring. Nobody cares. So I had to find new friends for a start. And I had to start to find a new group of people that understand, that talk about the same topics, that resonate. And at the beginning, the very beginning, the few years, first 2-3 years, they were very lonely. And lonely also because you don't know where to go, you don't know even where to find support. So how, Faris, you managed to build up yourself in that situation that COVID was around, nobody knew what's going to happen out there. You are facing a struggle because nobody wants to buy anything because everybody's scared. And so what you did, what was the internal self-work that you did that you managed to find strength and come back to your game?
So these are great questions, and it doesn't matter if it's COVID or not. Every entrepreneur will face those tough times. So the key for me was a couple of things. One was finding your own process and resilience. I kept, even when I had no clients and no work, I kept a routine. I kept doing stuff to build the business, because I said to myself, this will change. The market will open up. People will come. So in the meantime, build your website. In the meantime, improve your messaging, build your products, work on yourself, so I also invested in having a regular routine of exercise, of improving my skills, so, and I did that, I didn't know how long I'd have to do that, but I did it every day. I didn't just stay in bed. I didn't just, so it was 6 months of every day a routine, reading, learning, working on stuff. So that's one factor. Keep going, because it will change, right? And the worst thing in the world is if the market suddenly opens and you've just been sitting on your ass for 6 months, so that's part of it, and find your own happy, find things that bring you joy, even in tough times. And it could be small things, like listening to a favorite song, talking to a good friend, because those are really important about keeping positive. And the second side, which I kind of alluded to, is get a strong support network around you. I found other people going through the same experience, and I formed a community, so we could all lean on each other when we needed to, because it's tough doing anything alone. And when you start off as an entrepreneur, that's the number one thing you're alone, because it's your journey. It's you're the one to take a leap. Nobody else has leapt with you, but there are other people who've leapt to do their thing. So go find them and hang out with them. So those were the important things for me.
Yeah, I think 80% of the success is always in the mindset of the entrepreneur. And it's really difficult. We have to work a lot continuously. The entrepreneurs have to work a lot in ourselves, because everything is in our mindset, and believing that everything is going to work, believing that everything is going to be fine. Trust your journey. I think I agree 100% with you. Is key. It's difficult. It's difficult because you keep working and nothing is happening, and you need to keep believing in yourself and that everything's going to be fine. But eventually, you know what? Things will be fine, right? I think that I train a lot of entrepreneurs, and every time that I talk to them, they say, "Oh, even if they have little victories, they say, oh, we're doing very bad. We're doing very bad. This is all bad." And guess what? Everything goes bad for you. So
exactly. Yeah.
Putting on the space. But on the other hand, if you have a positive mentality and you said everything's going to be fine, everything's going to work out, we're going to make it work, guess what happened? It will work out.
It works. Yeah.
You're already putting in a space, you're already putting in intention to your energy. Is already, and it's not about magic, it's not about guru, it's about that when the right opportunity come, when the right client come, because you are in this mindset, you're gonna see the opportunity easy and you're gonna grab it. Whether if you are in the mindset, things is bad, this is not work out, blah blah blah, even the opportunity come to you and you won't be able to communicate effectively the value. It makes sense. So yeah, I think that the being positive is key in order to succeed. We did all have hard times in COVID. We all have to reinvent themselves, even the business model, because I think Faris, I think before COVID, you already have your own business model all written down. This is how I'm going to approach it. Now COVID comes, now you have to redefine and reinvent the whole business model again from scratch, because now everything changed and was crazy, right?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Pre-COVID, my business was entirely built around, I will turn up in person and I will deliver an amazing workshop that everyone will enjoy, everyone will get there. And then obviously COVID happened. I had to get the same impact over a camera. So you have to start again. Yeah.
There you go.
Big challenge. But you know what? I learned how to do that, right? To the point that it was just as good as being in the room. And then clients, what I found, came and said, can you teach us that? Can you teach us how to lead over a camera? So that became a new service that we offered.
Wow, amazing. And now let's talk about your business. About your business. We want to know what is more about this fantastic business that you have, that I love it. I just hear a little bit and I just love it. And we want to know, tell us more about your business. What is unique? What is what people are deciding to become your client and to receive your services?
Yeah. Okay. So my business is called Shiageto Consulting, and Shiageto is the Japanese word for a sharpening stone. Okay. So if you've ever had a knife that goes dull, you might have used a Shiageto to sharpen it. And because that's a metaphor, we go in and sharpen people, we sharpen companies, because we all go a little bit blunt, right? And where do we go blunt? We work in 3 areas, Harry. We work, we have a success equation. We say, if you want to be successful in life, whatever you want to achieve, it doesn't matter, it's making more money, losing weight, whatever, you need 3 components. You need IQ, right? Do you have the right ideas? Do you have the best idea, right? And if not, we will come in and help sharpen that. The second component is EQ, right? Do you have the ability to take others with you? This is emotional intelligence, because a great idea without other people following it is just a piece of paper. Right? And if you're not, we can help sharpen your EQ. So we often go in and help there. And the third component that a lot of people miss is FQ, which is not a rude word, Harry, is focus quotient, right? Which is, do you have the ability to focus on what you said is important? And if not, we can help sharpen that. So the work we do with big corporates, and we work with the likes of Amazon and Heineken and Anglo-American, but we also work with startups and charities, is either helping them with their IQ, helping them with their EQ, or helping them with their FQ. And it's so much fun.
Wow. And then can you please share with us, Faris, what are the 5 steps being in your journey now in your company and after almost 5 years in business and successfully growing, right?
Yeah.
So what are the 5 steps that you recommend out there to every single entrepreneur, right? That want to start the journey, that want to maybe they are listening that and they resonated that they are in the same space, they are in the corporate environment, they feel trapped, they want more freedom in their life, and they're afraid to take this step that you took, right? And so what would be the 5 steps that these people listening this podcast should follow, so they can fulfill the dreams?
Yeah, so they can be successful. Okay, well let's break it down, right? And this is the same. I'm going to give you the 5 same steps that I work with companies on. So if it doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur or you're a big business, right? So step 1, right? Be really clear on what you want to achieve and why, right? Don't just say I want to build a business. What specifically do you want to achieve, right? And I'll equate it to my business. When I set up the business, I wanted to have more fun. Right. So that was the number 1 metric I still measure every week. But really define, what does success mean for you? So you said about making your first million. $1 million what? Is it $1 million in revenue? Is it $1 million customers? Is it $1 million smiley faces? Right? Define it, be clear about it, put it on a wall. So that's step 1, right? Have it really clear what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And step 2,
the people come and they say, I want to build a business, I want to have this company, but they don't have clarity what they really want. And this is, I think, is very important, because if you don't have clear what you want to achieve, is guess what? Is you're gonna be all over the place. And
Harry, it's very easy to just do stuff.
Exactly.
But if you do stuff, how do you know you're actually going in any direction? I often tell my clients, there's a great quote by Albert Einstein. He said, if I was ever in a situation where I only had an hour to save my life and save the world, I'd spend at least 55 minutes working out what the problem is, because then it's easy. But too many people spend 55 minutes just running around doing stuff. Right? So take the time, work out what it is you want to achieve.
Specific.
So that's step 1. Okay. You ready for step 2?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're very clear what you want to achieve, generate 100 ways to get there. Right? Doesn't matter if they're bad ideas. Right? The worst thing in the world is to generate only 1 or 2 ideas, because then you'll just pick one of them. But if you have 100, you can really look across and say, what is the best idea? Right? But too many people just pick the first idea, not the best idea. Right? And this for me is one of the most fun parts of building anything, is that creative aspect. Hey, we could do this, or we could do that. We could do this, and literally just let your mind go. Ask other people, get their ideas. But you're much stronger if you have 100 options rather than just 2. So that's step 2. Generate a lot of ideas.
Faris, I want to expand a little bit on this. So
yes,
what's the process? Because this is really, really important. It's not about have one idea. It's how to have the best idea. So how you want to do this process? Did you write it on the board? Did you because you're talking about hundreds of ideas. So how you personally do it?
How do I personally do it? So first of all, creativity is a muscle, right? Even if you think you're not creative, you can build it up. I used to be not creative. I was told at school, you're not creative. I was a mathematician. You're not creative. But you know what? I trained myself to be creative. I read a fantastic book that taught me how to be creative, and basically it involved everyday practicing. Okay, so any human being can get more creative and generate more ideas. But here's the other tip. Use a team. Use other people, right? I regularly go into companies and, if let's say there's 10 people in the room, I tell them within 10 minutes, we'll get 100 ideas out of this group.
Wow.
They don't believe me, but I show them using a simple technique of brain swarming, how you can get 100 ideas out of a group in 10 minutes. Okay.
Wow. Amazing.
Right? It's amazing. Human beings, once you unleash their creativity, sometimes it's hard to put it in, right? And the lot of the tips are, there are no bad ideas. Too many people who are trying to generate ideas close ideas off too soon. Yeah. Imagine We've all been in a room where somebody says, hey, how about this? And somebody else goes, oh, that won't work. Right? That's the worst thing in the world, because what happens then is that person won't speak again because they've kind of just been told off. Like, your idea is shit, right? Yeah. Whereas if you say, thanks, that's great, right? Who else has got an idea? Suddenly it'll give the next person more confidence. All right. And what people do is they build on each other's ideas. So even if there's a bad idea, that might get improved upon. So, how you run those sessions is very, very important to getting ideas out of a group. But yeah, all you need is 10 minutes, 10 people, you'll have 100 ideas.
Yeah, there is a story like it was in a boardroom. There were an ice cream company they were discussing about how to reduce the price of the taps, that the taps are very expensive, what type of material we're going to use for the taps. These taps are killing our profits, and they went 1 hour choosing materials, things like that. And one of the guys was sweeping there at the time, and he said, guys, why you don't eat it? And this is what the ice cream cone was born, right? So it's when you have a brainstorm and a lot of ideas flowing, maybe a crazy idea in the right context, because obviously the guy was sweeping the floor and said, guys, why you don't eat it? But he just left it there. However, in the right context, the people in that ballroom say, actually, this is really good what you just said. Let's implement it right. So if you have the right empowerment context and the right energy and the right mindset, I think that out of these 100 ideas, something amazing can happen and can shift the whole direction of the company. Just a simple idea. I agree 100%.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Harry. So, yeah.
We are looking forward for the step 3. So,
step 3, okay.
What happened next?
So you've got your great idea, you've got your 100 ideas, you pick your best one. Step 3 is all about EQ, right? Is deliver whatever you deliver with emotional intelligence. And what do I mean by that is flex your style, right? If you go into a room talking about something in one way, you'll only get like a quarter of the people excited, because human beings approach things in different ways. Some people like logic to convince them. Some people like a story. Some people just like to be told. Other people like to be asked. Right. So if you want to deliver anything, your idea, you need to be comfortable talking about it in lots of different ways, and you being the one to flex, not expecting them to flex. Right. Too many times I see a leader walk into a room and go, well, I don't know. I explained it really well. Why are they not getting it? Right. And it was a bit like when I was a school teacher. My boss said to me once when I was having difficulty getting through to the children, he said, they're 10 years old. You're expecting too much of them. Whereas you're an adult, you can change. So why don't you do that? And it just changed everything for me. So flex your style, deliver with more emotional intelligence. I
would like to expand a little bit more about emotional intelligence, because I think it's really important.
Yes.
Because sometimes people out there don't even know what it is. The word is very sexy, but what is it? What is it? And I think that what you just shared with us is people have different way of learning. Yeah, I'm actually visual, right? So, and I remember the school system is more auditory. So the teacher talks and you listening, right?
Yeah.
So my girlfriend, for example, she speaks 5 languages, right? So she's very auditory. So of course she has the highest mark in the school, right? Because the way that the system is delivering the information is a positive way for her to absorb that information. But for me, I'm visual, so if I don't see things, then it's very difficult for me to learn. I remember you're a mathematician, so what happened what I find out that something was wrong with me and I didn't know what is in mathematics. I got a degree in chemical engineering, but everything like all these subjects, I was never on top. In algebra, no in differential equations, in any of that. I was always middle or low, right? Never on top of the class. But they come one day with a topic that they call it a space geometric. And the whole thing was about to do ellipse and triangles and everything on the space. And then you can visualize that. And it was very image oriented. And they did the exam and I got 100 points and the whole class failed.
Okay.
And I was talking with everyone and everybody was telling me, how come you always fail everything and here you get the top and we all fail and nobody understood what happened? Me, I understand what happened. Now listening to you and after the years of experience, I realized that we all have different way of learning. Now, if you have a team and you cannot communicate the idea effectively to 100% of the team and the only 20% of the team will understand the idea, I think you will have only 20% of the result that you're expecting. And so how you identify, Faris, when you're in a room, how many are visual, how many are kinesthetics, how many are auditories, or even better, how you prepare your presentations, your training, so all of them can get the same result out of the information that you share with them.
Yeah, well, things here, right? Number one is get to know your team, people you're working with. Yeah. Spend time with them, ask them questions. Literally, what do you like? What do you not like? Human beings are great. They will tell you or they will leak, what they like and what they don't like. So you say, oh, you like lots of data. Okay. Next time I talk to you, I'm going to bring in lots of data to convince you. Oh, you like a story. Okay. Next time. And, and the other thing is learn to read the room, right? So I teach leaders, when you're in a room and you're talking, how many people are on their phones? How many people are looking at their watches? How many people are, they start to be in tune with this, right? Because the more that's happening, the more the message is not going in. So stop, literally stop, change how you're talking. Even if you want, challenge people, say, look, it seems, you people aren't interested. Am I right? Right? So there are lots of cues as you're talking, but too many people don't pay attention. They just keep talking. Okay. So number one, know your team. Number two, read the room. And number three, be prepared to change your style. And what I mean by that is I used to have an old boss who trained me to adapt 4 styles. He would make me, if we were going to go and meet clients, prepare 4 different presentations. He said, okay, prepare a presentation in case the client likes data. Now prepare a second presentation in case the client likes stories. Now prepare a third one in case they like just being told what to do. Now prepare a fourth one. Do you know, it was 4 times the amount of work. I'd stay up to 3 a.m. preparing 4 different presentations. But what he was doing was teaching me to be able to do this without even thinking. So nowadays, I don't need to prepare 4 presentations. I can flip in the middle of a conversation and say, that's not working. Let's try this.
Exactly. And then I want to enhance in this because I 100% agree with you. I train over 10,000 of speakers all over the world, and we have this issue that when people are preparing the presentation, right? And this is all they care about. And I always telling them that you have to have the presentation in the back of your head already, because when you're presenting, you have to look at the room. If you don't, if your only concern is to remember the words of your PowerPoint and your presentation, and this is the only thing you prepare for, is your 50%, because you won't have time to, like you say, to read the room. And if you cannot read the room, the information that you want to share with people, it won't land effectively. So I agree 100% with you, because
100%.
We find this very common in our presenters. That and then what happens is boring, and when you do a boring presentation, then you're not able to influence the
Too many people, Harry, spend too much time worrying about the broadcast. They don't worry as much about the receive. I always say it's far better to spend time thinking about how people are receiving it.
Exactly. How and flip what you said is very important. Very important. Sometimes I do workshops, and after I finish the workshop, I'm thinking, wow, what I have prepared to say, it have nothing to do with actually happen, because the room is leading you. You have to facilitate when the room, the people ask you questions and everything. Maybe you have this direction, but they start to ask you questions. You realize that they don't care about what you're gonna teach them. They care about this, and you have to be able to turn the wheel. I always said a knowledge speaker friend of mine, very successful, told me, Harry, don't put what you say as a priority. Instead, put the priority what they want to hear, right? And this is key in this. But learn how to turn the wheel, because the presenters they say, oh, this is what I want to teach, this is what I want to, and this is what is going to happen. And if you cannot read the room, if you cannot move, I think this is a great skill, Faris, that you teaching your clients. And in my opinion, my expert opinion, will help them to go way long in the results that they can achieve. So well done. I'll congratulate you for helping people to achieve that, because in my opinion, it's key for
Thank you.
success. Next step.
Next step, right? So you've got you've defined what you want. You've got all your options. You're going to deliver with EQ. The next step is all about FQ, removing barriers that are going to get in your way. Don't wait for them to come and hit you, right? What you should be doing is looking ahead and anticipating the problems, right? One of my favorite activities I do with clients is called a pre-mortem. Harry, have you ever heard of a pre-mortem?
No.
No? Okay,
tell us more.
Let me explain, tell you more. A pre-mortem is where you take any idea and you imagine it has failed, and it has failed terribly, right? And what you do is you encourage people to tell you why it's failed. Generate as many ideas as why it's failed, right? Right. And anticipate it's like that creativity, but in a negative way, right? And the beauty is you will unearth all the things that people are worried about. And the great thing is you can then pick the most challenging ones and come up with something to make sure they never happen. Okay. Wow. So the team may tell you, we're really worried about this, we have too many competing priorities, person A doesn't get on with person B, that way this isn't going to, so you're like, great, now let's fix those before they even happen. All right. That's what great leaders do. Anticipate problems and fix them ahead of time. Right. So that's where the focus comes in, removing barriers in your way.
And what do you recommend? Do you recommend that they, what is the recipe? What is the secret behind how to anticipate problems? It's all about the mindset of the entrepreneur, that they know the problem.
No, it's about pragmatism. So some of it comes from your experience, but and some of it you already know, right? So the number one barrier that I work with companies on is doing too much. Right. Too many companies, too many people are doing too much. Right. I go into a company and they say to me, Faris, we have 150 strategic projects at the moment. I'll say that back to yourself. That doesn't make sense. You can't have 150 things that are strategically important. Right. You should have 10.
Sounds like a lot. Yeah.
It sounds like a lot. And this is every time I go into a company, maybe it's not 150, but they have 50, 60. And I said, look, for your employees, you're telling them 60 things are super important. They need to do them all. They don't have enough time in the week, right? The number one thing you can do to help them is say, no, these are the 5 things. If your work is not flowing into this, stop it, right? That's hard. That's hard, letting go of stuff. But that is the thing that will add the most value. These are barriers in your way. If this is super important, you need to make active choices. So this is where we help companies, because we know it's hard. So we try and reframe the emotion around letting go. All right. So that is the number one place people can start when they want to remove barriers. Then the other things to look for is, hey, have we done this before? Where do our people normally trip up? Right? Lack of motivation. Sometimes it's silly things, right? We know the answer. Like how many times, I don't know if you've ever worked in an office, for example, Harry, and you've ever had a printer.
A long time ago.
A long time ago, right? Often in the offices I worked at, there was always a printer or a piece of equipment that didn't work. And what happens is everyone goes up, kicks it, thinks they can fix it, they lose, and each person loses about 20 minutes of their day or half an hour, right? Now, if you add that up, what a waste of value. Now, the simple things, so that's a barrier, right?
And frustration.
If you know it, just fix it ahead of time. Just get a new printer. This is is that you don't need to be shocked about them. When you pack your team is phenomenal.
Yeah, because it costs more the printed. It costs more the printed than actually it costs more the time of the employees going there than actually what the printed costs, right?
Exactly. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And now something funny, something that happened in your journey as an entrepreneur that was funny. I know that you like to have fun and I can imagine that your workshops and your training and your consultations, everybody have a lot of fun and a lot of joy while consuming the content, which is something very, very important as well, because nobody wants to go to a classroom to a teacher to tell them this is what you want, this is what you have to do. This is something that everybody wants to escape. Everybody hates. Let's face it, everybody hates going to school. Yeah, everybody hates to go to school and have a teacher telling you what to do. But if it's done in a fun way, if it's done in a way that is more easy to digest, especially complex content like you're delivering to those corporates, that's a different story. So something funny that you remember?
Yeah, loads of stuff. Yeah, and you're absolutely spot on, Harry. Whatever you do, enjoy it. Let the fun flow for others and for you. And who knows where you'll end up. So, in the last 5 years, so many amazing things have happened to me just by enjoying it and going, I've ended up talking at conferences I never imagined. I've ended up writing a book with a friend. I've ended up, do you know what? You asked me something fun. I ended up in an advertising campaign for an insurance company just by having fun. Harry. So I was on billboards all around the UK and tube stations. Yes, my mum and dad are so proud. My face was everywhere.
And they see you everywhere, yeah.
You see me everywhere. You might see me out there, and that all happened by fun and by putting myself out there because I ran a business. Yeah, it was for my actual insurance company, and they were looking for a real customer to be in their adverts, and because they always saw me smiling and always having fun, they asked me. So
you attract them, right?
I attract them. You attract what you put out into the world. So yeah, but between you and me, Harry, being a professional model is very boring. But
exactly.
I can tell you more stories. But it is fun. It is fun, and it was great experience.
Yeah, I think that when we started this organization, Speakers and Leaders, that was the most. We have that in common. Our main objective is to have fun, but also the people that come to our workshops, to our training, to also have fun, right? And enjoy what we are delivering the content. I think that this is key, not for them to absorb it, and this is a technology that not too many people know about it. I think 90% of the corporate training there, Faris, happen in a totally different way. I talk a lot everywhere about that, right? That we have to change the way that we deliver content to these organizations. We have to change the way that, you go to any typical banking presentation in a bank, they are all boring, right? They are all, because it's exactly what you share. They're going to pick data one way, and they're gonna flash it to the whole audience. So how do you think that these presentations are gonna go? Like you said, only 20% of the people will find it attractive. But what's gonna happen with the other 80%? Because they all have different ways of learning. So if the people presenting, and that's why every time they go to a bank, every time they go to this company, that they are presenting products that actually they have a value of multi-million, sometimes they die, sometimes they don't move forward, and it's just because the presenter doesn't understand the basic principle that we're discussing today in the podcast. I think that for the audience, you are listening this, you do have a lot of value today, because today we reveal, thanks to Faris, an amazing content for you. Please take it on board, because he's coming from the best on the industry. Yeah. So Faris, if somebody want to know more, if somebody have a company, have a corporation, want to increase the productivity of the team, find out that there are 150 things to do, and they are working like crazy, and the company is not moving forward as they think, and they are stuck and they don't know what happened, and they need to put some grease, they need to put some oil to the machinery in order to produce more with less effort. How they can find you?
Okay, so 2 ways. Hang on a minute. One, come and look up our company. This is my company pillow, right? Come and find my company. It's called Shiageto. We're at www.shiageto.com. Remember, it's the Japanese word for a sharpening stone, and that's a great place. Yeah, I know. And the other way is come and find me on LinkedIn. There's only one Faris Aranki on LinkedIn. I'm there every day. I answer every message, and I love talking to new people. So come and find me either through the website or LinkedIn, and let's carry on the conversation.
And on that note, all of you that are listening to the podcast, thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned. And to you, Faris, keep growing. Keep making the difference in the company that you help. Keep talking more about emotional intelligence, which is a topic that a lot of people don't even know. And keep using this unique process that clearly is working for you, clearly is working for the company that you help. And let's keep growing. And thank you so much for your time. And we are very grateful here at the Speakers and Leaders podcast to have you here.
Thank you very much, Harry.
Welcome.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.